Well, it's a little late for me to do it, but I'm going to do it nonetheless because I watched the game. I might as well talk about it. Although I don't know if there is a whole heck of a lot to really frankly talk about here. Last night I watched as the Celtics went and took care of business against the Bulls and did so in relatively comfortable fashion. And of course, leave it to the basketball gods to say, hey, Jason Tatum's been out for like 2 weeks with this COVID crap, so his first game back, of course, is going to be against the Bulls. And the Bulls look like they're going to be without Wendell Carter Jr. for weeks, so you could get some of the feeling and the vibe that this was not exactly going to be their night. Not that they got boat raced or anything, but it just wasn't going to be their night. In the first quarter, it was obvious pretty early on that the Celtics were going to be the better team in the night, at least from my perspective. They were up 33-25 after one. Jaylen Brown leading the way with 10 and Jason Tatum chipping in 7. And you could look at Jason Tatum, even though you had some moments where he looked slightly rusty throughout the game. Early on, he came out, he looked pretty crisp. He was able to get some easy shots for him. So the Celtics got off to a good start, where the Bulls kind of struggled. Yeah, Zach LaVine and Thaddeus Young had 8 each for the Bulls, but they only shot 10 of 24 from the field in the first. And, kind of a theme of this game was it's either in the paint or it's at the three-point line. Not a whole lot else in between. So second quarter, it was Marcus Smart and Daniel Tease, whatever the fuck, who cares? I should care because they caused some problems for the Bulls in the second. Like when you're letting Daniel Tease run roughshod over you, you know you're having a bad day. Smart, the first half, had 13 points and 6 assists, and he was doing a great job of facilitating the Celtics offense. Tease with 10, and he really got some easy buckets at the rim. He burned the Bulls for a couple of alley-oops and dunks, and he was just... It's one thing if a Jason Tatum beats you. It's another thing if a Jaylen Brown beats you. It might even be something if a Marcus Smart beats you. But you let one of their role players beat you, like that's bad news. And the Bulls were a little sloppy with the ball in the first half and quite frankly sloppy throughout the game. They had 10 turnovers in the first, and I think they finished with 18 turnovers overall. Came out a little bit better to start. Excuse me, I'm not even going to bother editing it out at this point. What the hell difference does it make? Most of you aren't even watching. Came out a little bit better to start, but they really struggled from the field. And, the reality is in the first half, especially in the second quarter, a lot of contested shots. So the Bulls were really having trouble getting good, clean looks and good quality open shots. A lot of contested shots, a lot of kind of rush, scrambled shots. And that's why they were down to the Celtics 60-50 at the half. And, certainly a margin you looked at and you said, okay, this team's not playing great basketball, and they've let the Celtics get 60 on them, but they're in striking distance, and for a team like the Bulls, if they can hit a few three-point shots, they might get right back into the mix, but you got to come out in the second half. You got to start off playing some good defense and getting the Celtics out of their rhythm and not allowing them to get comfortable. And the Celtics immediately proceeded to come out and start off the third quarter with a 14-2 run, and it was really effectively after that. The Bulls tried to scrape, they tried to claw, but it just wasn't going to be enough. That 14-2 run really eliminated all doubt, because now you're talking about you're going from it's a 10-point lead, you're talking about it's a 20-point lead, and the Bulls just didn't have the firepower to catch up, and they weren't shooting that well enough to really have a chance to make up the difference. They weren't slowing the game down by drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. That was a problem in this game. Like I said, a lot of contested shots and a lot of either easy shots at the rim or shots at the rim or threes that either they made or they missed. But the Celtics held them off comfortably in the fourth quarter, like I mentioned, winning 119-103. For the Celtics, Jaylen Brown led the way with 26 points. Jason Tatum had 24 points in his first game back. He looked decent. Looked like he had some rust. But frankly, I could say there were flashes and moments in this game. Let me take a step back here for a second and say this game was kind of a hard watch. There were more airballed threes and airballed shots than I can remember seeing in a game in quite some time. Number of sloppy traveling violations. Like, this was not a beautiful game to watch by any stretch of the imagination. If you're trying to make an argument that you like the NBA now more than you ever have, or this is the best in terms of quality of play that the league has ever had, I present this game to you and say, you better avoid this one when making that argument, because it had moments of pure boo-boo and doo-doo. Boo-boo doo-doo! Boo-boo doo-doo! That's what it was like. But anyways, Jason Tatum with 24. The Bulls are like, yeah, we're not really going to bother defending him tonight either. They also didn't defend Daniel Tice. He ended up with 19. Marcus Smart finished with the 13 points and 11 assists. Like I said, he did a good job facilitating. Some of the passes he had were really nice, too. Like, good floor vision. Be curious here shortly when Kemba Walker comes back into the fold, how he's going to kind of intertwine into this team and how it shakes up or potentially hurts this Celtics team chemistry. For the Bulls, Zach LaVine had 30, and I don't even remember him having 30, frankly. But he did. I mean, he had another really good shooting night. Like, as I was watching it a little bit, I was sitting there and saying, damn, you know, I would have liked LaVine to have done more in the first half and really recognize that you're going up against this team with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You need to be on your A game, and you need to be aggressive. And if you want to be the alpha male, here's a chance to be the alpha male. But sometimes it's just not his game. So he got to 30, but it didn't feel like it was 30. But admittedly, this is not a Zach LaVine loss or anything, because I just didn't feel like the team really showed up that much. I mean, Larry had 18 and Thaddeus Young had 16, 9, and 9. Patrick Williams didn't do shit last night. Plenty of the other members of the Bulls roster didn't really feel like they contributed or did much last night. It was just kind of an ugly night. Like, one of the big differences in the game, turnovers. Bulls had a few more turnovers than the Celtics, and it was some of those sloppy turnovers that killed some momentum when they did have some momentum on their side. And then you look at the free throw disparity. The Bulls were 4 for 10 from the free throw line. The Celtics were 16 from 20. In a 16-point game, it's bad enough when you let a Daniel Tice get off for 19 points, but when you make 12 more free throws than the Bulls, you're probably going to win. And for the Bulls, you know, you look at them and you say, okay, are you not getting any calls at all? Or you're not trying to get any calls and you're just settling for too many bounce, 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 jack up perimeter threes. And you look at the shot chart from last night's game, and you look, and the Bulls shot chart, specifically the made shots, is representative of the NBA today. It's either in the paint or it is three-point line and beyond. There is absolutely nothing in the mid-range game. They didn't have a single true mid-range jump shot outside of the paint last night that went in. Not much balance or versatility to the Bulls' attack, which is a problem, which is a concern, because you're making yourself very easy to be defended by other teams, because they know you're either going to do one or two things. You're not really a threat. You don't really utilize the whole floor. Just because you have a bunch of guys stand out and sit there and wait at the three-point line doesn't mean you're using the entire court, doesn't mean you're using the entire floor, doesn't mean that you have a versatile, multifaceted offense, and they don't. Whereas the Celtics, yeah, they had a lot of shots from three, but at least they had some shots in the mid-range area, so there's more versatility, more options for the Celtics in their offense, and frankly, I think that's a big difference. And that's part of the problem with the Bulls. If they can't get to the paint, then they're heavily reliant upon the three-point shot. And if they don't hit those threes at a very high clip, they're going to be in trouble. Like, if you said right now, what's the identity of this Bulls team on offense? What is it really? Stand around and wait for LaVine to score 40? Everybody pounds the ball into the floor and then jacks up a three? Watch Grandpapa Denzel Valentine try to sit there and hit one of his YMCA 6-inch off the ground floaters? Oh my God. Does Denzel Valentine, tell me in the comments, does Denzel Valentine have the worst vertical in the NBA? And if he doesn't, who does? And please don't count them if they're white over 7 feet, okay? Let's be fair here. But similar players to him, 1s, 2s, 3s, and even 4s. Does anybody have a lower vertical, a worse vertical in the league than Denzel Valentine? I swear to God, that son of a bitch could have a lot of us out jump him in terms of vertical. And I don't think that's crazy to think at this point. That's how bad it is. Grandpapa. But a bad loss for the Bulls, against a good quality team, a contender, yes, for sure. But probably would have expected them to show a little bit better for themselves than they ultimately did. Now the Bulls get a few days off with Wednesday's game. I think against the Grizzlies postponed. I don't think they play again until Saturday. So hopefully they can get in the gym, figure some things out offensively, figure out how to get more balance and more versatility into their attack. But admittedly, they were playing the Celtics. So did I really have much hope for a win last night? No.